We're calling today's episode the best kid-friendly fun this season in Santa Fe, because this is all about Santa Fe for families. And my guest today, my gosh, Meghan, you're going to have to say your name. I never get it right.
Well, you are hearing my baby Max, but I'll introduce both of us. I'm Meghan Montelibano Gorman, and this is Max Gorman. And we're so excited to be here today, Bunny.
I'm so excited to have you back. How old is Max? Everybody's going to have to go look at the video of this because he's so perfect.
Thank you. This is, I think, his second podcast appearance, but he just turned 13 months. So yeah, just had a first birthday. Pretty wild.
So cute. He's so perfect. And I know that he and your other son are one of the reasons that you started at Santa Fe Fam. But I want to know what's new. We had you on the podcast before and on the I Love New Mexico podcast. And it seemed that at the time you were just beginning to do what you and I just discussed as a labor of love, where you're creating you're curating is a better way, I think, to say it, resources for Santa Fe families with young children. And I know that that came out of your own need. Can you tell folks the story of how you chose to do this?
Absolutely. So I think when my first son, Charlie, was first born, I was having severe postpartum anxiety and depression. We had just moved back to Santa Fe. My husband is from here. And I just really needed community. I need other people who were walking the same path as I was, friends for my child. And I'm a marketer. That's my day job. And I decided to document these adventures that I found and collect them into one location. I kept getting frustrated or just the brain fog of there's all of this stuff going on, but I can't remember. I need a to-do list, I need a calendar, I need it easy for me to access and understand. So that birthed the Santa Fam calendar. It's free, it's online, anyone can access it. And it has grown extensively since then. And it's just been such an honor to build this community with other parents and caregivers in Santa Fe.
Well, we'll tell people how, first of all, how it's where it's populated and how they can find it.
I am an Instagram first and foremost, right? So my handle is at underscore Santa Fam underscore. The Santa Fam was taken, which is a big bone I have to pick with the person who owns that handle. But Instagram is where I share our adventures, our reviews, and then the calendar is linked also on the Instagram. So follow me. That's the best way to support the page. I understand some people, especially right now, are not engaging in social media. So I also have the website, santafam.com. You can access more long form blog reviews. There's also the calendar there as well.
And I just want to say to people, if you're thinking of logging off because you're like, man, I don't have kids, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm going to tell you, if you have kids or you have grandkids or you're just curious about what's going on in Santa Fe, especially for families, you got to stick around because you're going to love this episode and talk about the things that are new since we last talked.
Well, I have a new baby. That's the first thing personally new. But I think since we started Bunny, and you were one of my first believers, you were the first believer, honestly. It's such an honor to kind of have a full circle moment with you. Because the last time I came on, I was just me. It wasn't this brand, it wasn't this community. So I think that's one thing that's changed, right? That Santa Fam has given a lot of he just threw all of his veggie chips at the
That's
computer.
hilarious. If you're listening to the audio, Max is grinning and eating veggie chicks and chips and throwing them at the camera. It's hilarious.
But I think, the fact that there's more visibility of families in Santa Fe, and with that, there's more of an openness with, you know, having more family-friendly options in the city. Programming wise, there's so much, and it's summertime. It's the best time in Santa Fe, early spring, early summer. Um, some things, some things we're excited for. Uh, Other fun things this summer for kiddos and families in Santa Fe. I'm on the board of the Children's Museum. I'm so honored to
Good for
have
you. That's so exciting. And they need somebody like you. I mean, I think every nonprofit board in Santa Fe should make a point of getting young people, and to me and the boards I've served on, that's anybody under 40 is young if you live in Santa Fe. But to get some fresh insights and to figure, I mean, you're the future. I mean, you and your family are the people who are going to be here, 20 and 30 and 40 years from now. Um, and it's so important to the community. So congratulations. I'm so excited. It's one of my favorite nonprofits in town.
Thank you, Bunny. And we're one of the main constituents, right? A family with young children who are raising Santa Fe boys. And I just am so impressed. It's the only place just for kids in the city. And it's at capacity, right? Because there's a lot of families here, but
Right.
the backyard, our new expansion is something I'm really excited about. We're gonna have a concert series. I think it's the first Thursday of the month, and there's some really good musicians on the lineup. So it's a free outdoor backyard concert. I think it starts tomorrow, actually. I don't know when the podcast is going to go live, but Lone Pignon, Jules, it's going to be a really great time. That's something we're excited about. Lots of outdoor stuff happening
What time will those Thursday concerts be at the
I
Children's Museum?
think let me double check the calendar. See, this is why we have the calendar because I can't remember anything. When I'm out and about and people are asking me for recommendations, I just say, go open the calendar because I don't know. I don't remember. Let's see, Queen Bee Backyard Concert Series. So it's in partnership with Queen Bee, which is another wonderful nonprofit. It starts at 4:30 to 5:45 p.m. every first Thursday. Second Thursday. Second Thursday.
Perfect. Well, this may not air. I'm just going to say it may not air before the first one, but anybody who wants to take their kids to a concert at the Children's Museum, choose the first Thursday throughout the summer, right?
Second Thursday. Second Thursday throughout the
Second
summer.
Thursday. Yes.
Look at
Yes.
the Santa Fam calendar to fact check us.
Okay, so let's talk. I mean, we've referred to the calendar several times. I want you to tell folks exactly where to find it, how often it's updated, and how it works. Tell me what folks are loving best about that calendar.
Absolutely. So, santafam.com, if you scroll to the website, you'll see a button right at the very top that says subscribe to the calendar. Click on that, submit your email. There's also some space for you to suggest what you want to see on the calendar or on Santa Fam in general. You'll get access to the calendar. It's just a Google Calendar, nothing fancy. I've thought about making it fancier. It doesn't need to be. You just need a calendar, where to go, what's happening. You can see once you have access, every single day there is something to do with your children in this city. I think I get frustrated sometimes with folks saying there's nothing to do. There's plenty to do. People just need some marketing help, if you will. So Santa Fam serves to kind of fill that gap. Things that people are loving to see on the calendar, just that it exists and it has full and accurate details, which to your second question, Bunny, of how often it is updated, every second of every day. I unfortunately am on my phone a lot. I run a marketing agency again in my day job, in addition to taking care of my children. So I'm on my phone probably too much, but there is nothing more frustrating than seeing an event online, going to it, and then A, it's not happening, or B, you don't have the full information. You don't know, where do I park? Is it free? Is there a charge? Is it cash only, which exists a lot of times in Santa Fe? So I think my followers and my friends really enjoy that it's comprehensive and it's accurate information, right? And it's my reputation, right? I hate when things are not accurate for myself. Um, and then when folks will, I think I've gotten maybe one or two messages in the course of 3 years where something was not happening. And that was out of my control, truly. But I will take accountability for that because this is something that I hold near and dear to me, that I want it to be a useful resource to people.
Well, just an example. Can you tell us a few things that are going to be happening? Let's say after the 15th of May going forward. I mean, what are things that people really want to pay attention to that their kids are going to love and that they're going to love as well? I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with your kids where you sort of, put your palm on your forehead and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do this with my kids. Tell me the things that are happening maybe in the next 4 weeks after May 15th that folks are going to love.
I think I'm really excited. The Audubon is hosting a new nature story time. Um,
Mhm.
it's up at the Audubon. Parking can sometimes be tricky, so you can carpool from Water Park and you could bike even if you're feeling ambitious. And it's just, it's one of the most beautiful parks in the city and beautiful places. If your children love nature or birds, I love it just because I feel like I'm in another world, right? It's fun. It's an easy lift from a parent perspective, right? You just take your kids up to the Audubon, pack a picnic, enjoy some outdoor time and a quick story, and then let them run feral on the big acorn structure.
And
That's
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure that people understand we're talking about the Randall Davy Audubon Center that is at the top of Canyon Road. And if you haven't been there, it is a surprise to people. I think, I think it was his personal home, wasn't it? That's my understanding. And I have a really good friend who works up there and is in charge of education. So she may be somebody that you're in contact with, but um, it's it's a surprising place to visit if you've never been.
Mhm. It's such a treat. And my husband used to be a camp counselor there way back when. So another like full circle moment is us getting to take our children to a place that he grew up and got to experience as a young child. And now we get to do it with our two boys. So it's just a great place. And the story time is new. That was a total, how Santa Fam is hoping to inspire other people, right? Other organizations to put more programming out for families. So it's been great.
Wait, are you saying that you inspired them? Or I mean, did you have a piece in that?
No, no, no. I just think I'm seeing more organizations reach out to me when they have programming. So the director actually reached out to me directly once they were finalizing everything. A lot of companies actually work with me more on a consulting basis. I tell event planners and organizers all the time, use the calendar as a resource. If you're worried about double booking or having an event or a program at the same time as something huge, you don't want to plan something the same time the Canyon Road Summer Walk is. You're not going to
Right.
get attendance. We could talk about that too in a little bit.
Yes.
Um, but that's a free resource, right? From an event planning perspective, just hop on the calendar and say, okay, Wednesdays, there's too much going on. We're not going to plan something on a Wednesday. Um, but I'm so grateful when organizations just tell me when things are happening versus me like sifting through the internet, looking at flyers at Java Joe's, trying to find and not miss anything.
Right.
It's like compulsive at this point, right? Because I just want the calendar to be comprehensive as possible. Um, and when people show up, things continue to happen. So I want people to continue to be there so more things happen for my kids and your kids.
So when are these story times at the Audubon Center?
The Audubon is the last Friday of the month, and it is 10:30 to 11:15 a.m.
Well, that's a perfect time because your kids maybe aren't napping at that moment, right?
It's true. Naps says, as I've had two children now, naps are kind of out the door. They're just like, you nap when you can. But I know many of my friends have very strict schedules for naps, and you go with the flow. Sometimes you make it, sometimes you don't. I think parenthood has really pushed me to be more flexible with that. And oddly enough, the calendar has given me freedom for, if we miss one event, we'll go to the next one, whatever's happening later on that day. So,
And what else can you think of that maybe is a late May, early June event that would be fun for folks?
well, we talked about Canyon Road Summer Walk
Talk
briefly.
about that more.
Yeah, It's great. I think the kind of passion and the team behind it and kind of the energy of why it exists of making Canyon ours again, right? We have all of these wonderful resources on Canyon Road, stores, shops, etc. And I think it's a big PR campaign in my mind, right? Like changing the perspective of what Canyon is and how it does belong to us as people who live here and also to folks who visit. It can be both, right? I really tried to separate myself from this like us versus them, like older residents versus younger residents, etc., tourists versus us. It all benefits us at the end of the day, right? We're all one big fam. We're one big system that has to operate together. But Canyon Road Walk, the road is shut down, the entire road. So folks who are hesitant to go with small children, you can bring the stroller. You can walk literally in the middle of the road. There's no worries about, those teeny tiny historic sidewalks, as we call them, on Canyon.
Right.
So there's plenty of space. They have family-friendly activities. There's performances, there's dances, there's food, there's, shops who open their doors to families, and it's just such a beautiful time, place, weather. I'm excited for those to start up again.
And are those the first Wednesday?
Yes, ma'am. First Wednesday. You start at the bottom, park your way up to the top. I think you can maybe park at Patrick Smith Park too if you're feeling a little sneaky.
Wow.
Get through the majority of it if you have really small, tiny children. So you can start with the park play date and then head on over to the road walk.
And I want just for a minute to talk about the things that you've done for moms, the meetups that you've created for moms, because I think when you are a young mom, and especially if you're having some postpartum issues, maybe depression, maybe I got to get out of the house before I, break a window. Tell me about those, because those feel, when I was a young mom, I felt so isolated
Yeah.
and so lonely, really. Talk about that, because I think that's so, I mean, you don't just do this calendar, you're really proactive in helping moms and parents. Talk about that.
Well, it gave me chills, Bunny, because it's an experience that is timeless in a way that mothers and parents and caregivers, and I'll say, moms especially, I kept hearing this narrative, right, of this experience of loneliness and isolation. And I think of that compounded with COVID-19, like we kind of just brush over that, right? We're just like, oh, what a crazy time. But that really had a tremendous impact on our socialization, right? Um, I always say the post-COVID parent is a little more anxious. We're a little more hesitant to bring our kids around, germs. We're a little bit more hesitant to reach out and make friends. And coffee and crying is my signature event.
I love that, because that's what it is, right?
What it is. I'm pretty literal in my marketing with Santa Fam. It has been such a gift for me to just grow that space. And it started in the hospital when I gave birth to Max. I was in Presbyterian. I was terrified thinking about how hard it was last time with my older son, Charlie, and how this time around I wanted to be proactive with moving my body, with meeting other parents, with drinking coffee and crying. Those are the two things I love to do. So I remember my husband talking to me about it still in the hospital. He's like, you should just throw something up on Santa Fe. I'm like, see if like people will meet up. And you hear mom group and it's kind of cringy. You're like, like I don't want to be that person like trying to like rally the moms. But once I got kind of past that own, I don't know, self-consciousness, um, I just threw it up on Instagram. I had an open invite. I asked Baked and Brew, one of my favorite local businesses here in town, if they would donate, coffee and some pastries for 10 people, see what happens. And that was almost a year ago to the date. My first one was in April 2024. And the first one had 75 people show up at my
What? Is there even space at Baked and Brew for 75 people?
Well, it was at Alto Park, so we meet at a,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but no, definitely not a baked and brew. And I was Lord, I just was like
Oh,
you
you're
said,
gonna make me cry. That is
well,
so
and you
cool.
just shared so personally, Bunny, like you felt that isolation, you felt
Uh,
loneliness and overwhelm of like, I have this tiny creature I'm now responsible for, and I am also a new person and trying to figure out who that is and how I interact with the world. And other people felt like that too. And Coffee and Crying, I think I did the numbers. It's been over 1,200 mamas in a year who have shown up, and all it took was just an invitation, right? Of I'm right there with you. And I don't know what I'm doing either, but I want to talk to you. I want to listen to you. I may not have solutions. I never have solutions. People are like, give me nap advice. I'm like, you're asking the wrong girl, but it has been also a testament to the business community of how much they support, because every Coffee and Crying has had um, coffee and pastries donated. So it's really wonderful to see people pull through for mamas. And I have abuelitas, I have dads come, I have tios. It's so great to see fams in all shapes and sizes come out for these events. And I was recognized, so Santa Fam, the Historic Women Markers Program, I'm one of the 8 history makers because of this work, and also one of the 10 who made a difference with the Santa Fe New Mexican. So it feels so silly to me, but I think that's just like my mom or like female urge of trying to minimize this work, but this labor is really important, and it does take a lot of work. You can ask my husband. I'm like always like buzzing around trying to make things happen. But Coffee and Crying is going to be once a month this summer. So check the calendar for dates, and we're going to be back at the park, and it's going to be a great time.
I am so proud to be one of your sponsors. I am your bag sponsor, which I think I hope that the bags that have my name on them are packed with baby things and going fun places.
They are. I have a content piece right now that's about to go out of what's in your bag. So anytime I see one of those Santa Fam Bunny Terry bags out in the wild, I ask the moms like, pull out something of your bag, and it's like a pacifier or wipes or, you know, it's very rarely a wallet. And I'm like, do you guys have money in here? But that's something I've been working on. And it's been, like I said, your support, you've been through this, right? You have been through this journey. And I love kind of the intergenerational threads that we can pull and connect on the shared experience, and just your love and your support. It means so much to me personally. So thank you, Bunny.
Well, let's talk real quickly about things that people may not know about. Maybe parks or wildlife stops, excuse me, easy hikes. What are some things that first of all, if somebody's new to Santa Fe, I want them to find you, but even if they're just coming for a visit, what would you suggest they put on their list that's maybe not a can't miss, but something that might surprise them?
It's a good question. It's so contingent on your child, I think. I get this question all the time from visitors, grandparents who have their grandbabies visiting for the summer, right? DMs of what should I bring my kid to? So I kind of break it down of, well, what's your kid interested in? Um, of course, I'll say the Santa Fe Children's Museum, especially because of the backyard space. We've talked about this earlier, but it's just great to let your kids run. That's all they need. They just need space to run. Um, there's a really wonderful event called Outside Southside, and it's sand play, which is when you are a toddler, all you really need is space, sand, and water. And
Right.
that's it. That's as simple as it gets. Um, Outside Southside is over at, I think, the Boys and Girls Club, kind of by the Southside Library. So
Mhm.
that's a summer cannot miss event. And then I'm trying to think what else is coming up. Tiny Twisters tumbling. This is one of our favorites. It's, for summer, sometimes it's too hot to go outside. We're getting hotter and hotter in Santa Fe. Tiny Twisters is Monday, Friday, and Saturday at 10 a.m. and it's an indoor gym. It has all soft surfaces, and there's like a trampoline floor and climbing materials and gym materials. And it's just so much fun because I think the more unrestricted your kids are, as I've had two kids, just wrangling them, getting them out of the house. Once we're out, we just want to be rolling around. So Tiny Twisters is great. Um, and I think for someone visiting, something that might surprise you is the Genevieve Chavez Center, which is our gym, but also an indoor pool. And it is so much fun. They have done a lot of work to make it more accessible for families. And that was all parents advocating for that. So I'm really grateful to that team to make that happen. Um, it's a heated pool. There's a frog slide. There's a big giant water slide. Um, and it's just so fun to swim, be in water in the desert for my desert babies. They're like, what's going on? So we really love swimming at the GCC.
And it's very, very affordable, right?
Yeah, I think for babies it's $2 and for a adult $4 and I think $3 for seniors. So, call it 12 bucks for an activity. That's you can't really find that anymore.
Well, while we're talking about that, what about food? I know that you've done a really good job of figuring out where you want to take kids to eat in this city of sort of fancy food. I mean, we do have some fancy food here, but you don't always want to load your kid up and take them down to Palace Prime, right?
Ugh, I really want Palace though, and their new I saw your reel about their new lunch patio. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
take a meeting at Palace one of these days.
Yes.
We should meet up there, Bunny. But I think for fancy food, something that has surprised me. My husband and I have been on very few dates since the birth of our second son. Time babysitting always an issue, but 315 is so kind and so family friendly. They had high chairs, which I was shocked about.
Wow.
Um, the sommelier came out and asked my, then 9-month-old what he'd like to drink that evening. And it was just so sweet. And I felt bad. I felt nervous of just like, I am bringing a baby to a fine dining restaurant. And, you just like anticipate the like stares or the glares, but the staff was wonderful. And they were just so kind to us and like anticipatory of our needs as well. And my son's eating a delicious steak and having the best time of his life and some fruits as well. So that's if you're looking for a date night for baby to come along with, if you can't find a sitter, definitely 315.
That's a great recommendation. And what about where you take your kids where they're saying your older son is saying, Mom, can we go back there? What's
Cafe Fina, hands down. You can
wow. You're
yes.
surprising me. This is so cool.
Okay, well, you have to go to Cafe Fina, Bunny, with your grandbaby because they have an outdoor playground. There is a slide and a structure on the patio. There's also kind of like chalk walls for kiddos to play and draw on. And the food is phenomenal. The cloud pancakes, my son will not stop. He's very kind of particular about his food, but if you get him cloud pancakes from Cafe Fina, he will eat all three, the whole stack. So, and the whipped cream and the berries. So, and it's great. You can have coffee. A few of my friends will just go, a random Friday whenever we're off work and bring all the kids. And same thing, the staff there is so friendly. It's for kids. The structure is for the children. So it's such a great place and it's delicious.
Wow. One more reason for me to suggest to people that they buy a house in El Dorado because it's so close to Cafe Fina.
Cafe Fina, ice cream is right there too.
Oh, and yeah, they have great ice cream in El Dorado. Have you been to that place?
I have many times, and I'm so happy they actually just opened a location here in Santa Fe. So that's
Oh,
a
where?
thing. It's at Chomp. It's at the Chomp Food Hall.
So my grandson calls it Ryan's place. Honestly don't know the name of it, but the owner's name is Ryan, and he has engaged with the 4-year-old so much that Milo thinks it's Ryan's place. I don't know. What is the name of it?
I always mess it up. Let me read it because it's Hello Sweet Cream, maybe Hey Sweet Cream. Ryan is such a sweetheart, but it's Hey, wait, their handle is Hey Sweet Cream, but the brand is Hello Sweet Cream. But
Okay. Okay. Well, I
shout
I
out
love
to
ice cream. Well, the other thing that Cafe Fina has is great cake and pie. So if you like need an afternoon treat, go out for a cup of coffee. I mean, you got to check their hours, obviously, but it is a great place. But both of these are surprising because I thought, well, she'll say the cowgirl because they have that playground in the back. And they have the baked potato ice cream. But so we want to wrap this up because we know everybody who's listening probably has a small child who's waking up from a nap, right? But also, I want folks to know that there's going to be a link to Meghan's Instagram, to her website, to the things that she's mentioned that you want to do with their children. And it's really helpful to me because I have older grandchildren that come from California. One's 8, one's 12. And it's always like, I don't want to do the same things over and over that we do when they come to visit for a week or two. So this is really helpful.
Good. I'm so glad, Bunny. And I think, right now, Santa Fam really focuses on that early childhood 0 to 5 age range. But, we'll see where it goes and where it grows. And as my children have gotten older, I've had, different perspective of actually, this doesn't work for 2 babies, or this does work for one baby and whatnot. So I think that's the fun of Santa Fam, right? It's always changing, and I'm always open to feedback, kind feedback. Sometimes people get a little crazy. But
Well, it's where we live.
true. Some people are so mad at me sometimes of like, why is this at this time? And I'm like, I have no control. I'm so sorry. You can
What a funny complaint. We don't know.
I don't know, but you can
Look
message
at the
them.
calendar and choose something different. Or go to
But
Palace Prime and have a cocktail.
oh my gosh, yeah, I have an espresso martini, and I
Yeah.
all parents collectively. That's another thing I should have mentioned. I do a mom's night out, Bunny. You should come to one.
I would
Uh,
love that.
it's so much fun. We rotate every month a different place. So this last one was a flower workshop. This upcoming one's going to be a bowling night. Same thing. It's coffee and crying, but without your babies. So sometimes we need a break, right? Sometimes mama just needs to not be holding a 25-pound child with another toddler dragging on her leg. Um,
That's so
I also
funny.
have a babysitting guide too on my website. So if you are
What?
looking for childcare, it's vetted. 4 families have to recommend them to be on the guide. Because I get it. It's really hard to trust your child with someone, and a lot of folks who move here have no family here, right? Luckily, I have like 16 first cousins, so I can just go down the line who will say yes. And sometimes I have to go through all 16 to find someone, but
Wow. Megan, that's so helpful. I mean, these are all things. I mean, it isn't just the events. I mean, people need to know where their kids can eat. They need to know where they can hang out that's easy. And at the babysitting guide, holy mackerel, what a great thing.
yeah.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for creating something that's so magical and so necessary for Santa Fe families. And I get why you were chosen as somebody who's making and changing history. I'm so proud to know you.
Oh, thank you, Bunny. And I say it all the time, but this is work that Santa Fam is just one version, just one mom's version of this. But this work has been done every generation. You've done it with your kids, and now you're doing it with your grandkids. And it's so rewarding for me to walk this path with other women and other mamas who, all we want is the best for our kids. And we're doing our best to do that.
Well, I can't add anything to that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bunny.